How many of you have come up with a business idea you thought was going to be your ticket to independence, financial freedom, or the opportunity to commercialize something you're passionate about? Did you maintain that energy to execute and bring that idea to life? When it comes to starting a new venture, most of us, in fact 92%, don't follow through with action. And the main reasons for this are a lack of funding, not enough time, not sure how to get started, and the fear of failure. Well, for our company, Maori Boys Limited, we're in that minority that did execute. And we created Wai Mānuka, a premium non-alcoholic beverage that infuses Mānuka honey with lemon juice and sparkling water. Tastes even better than how it sounds. And our goal was to celebrate the finest of New Zealand, Aotearoa, on the world stage. And what makes our journey a little different to most entrepreneurs who have taken that leap of faith was that it started as a New Year's Eve idea between myself and two lifelong friends sitting around the barbecue in the middle of a party. We made it throughout the COVID lockdown, so New Zealand's first lockdown back in 2020, which incidentally, every business metric said now is not the time to launch a new venture, but we did anyway. And coming out of lockdown, we were selected as one of two non-alcoholic beverages to represent New Zealand at the 36th America's Cup held in Auckland. The other beverage supplier was some random little company that sounds a bit like Choke. And for those of you who are not familiar with the America's Cup, it's like Wimbledon or the FIFA World Cup of yachting. It's the oldest and one of the most prestigious sporting events in the world. And to cap off this seemingly far-fetched story, none of us had any beverage making experiences. So when you weigh up all the factors, we really had no right to do what we've done. So what were the conditions that enabled us to thrive under such unique constraints? Over the last 2 years, we've been on this rapid journey of experiential learning. And I'm going to share with you 3 key points that helped get us to where we are today. There are several more, but these are the ones that I'm going to focus on. And our hope is by sharing these, you can apply them to your own goals and aspirations, regardless of what they are. It could be starting a new business, gunning for that promotion, completing studies, or just wanting to lead a healthier, fitter life. Regardless of the outcome, there are a few key actions that you can take to close the gap between where you are now and where you want to be. Ko te mea tuatahi. Have a goal that's bigger than yourself. I hardly ever drink alcohol, maybe like once or twice a year. So that New Year's Eve 2019 going into 2020, in the middle of a party, sitting around a barbecue, friends, family, everyone there having a good time. And I was drinking pineapple kombucha, and it tasted nothing like pineapple. It was gross. And I remember leaning over to my 2 good friends, Wayne and Lance, and I was like, bros, this drink tastes like, and I won't use the descriptor, but you can imagine. And someone needs to make a better premium non-alcoholic beverage to take to social occasions and one that you can be proud of. So after the boys stopped giving me grief, we sort of switched into solution mode. And we even had people at the party kind of jump in the conversation throughout the night, and somewhere between the vicinity of 2 a.m. and 3 a.m. in the morning, we landed on combining New Zealand's prized Mānuka honey with spring water, and we even had a name for it. We were going to call it the healing water of New Zealand Aotearoa. Fast forward a few months, we were meeting with a compliance expert, and the first thing she said to us was, there's no way you can call it that. Anyway, going back to that night, we understood the health benefits of Mānuka honey, and we also knew that we were creating a beverage for special occasions and one that represented the finest of New Zealand. So when it comes to having a goal that's bigger than yourself, right from day one or New Year's Eve night, in addition to solving the immediate problem of not having a good beverage, we used it as an opportunity to create a special gift, or a taonga, as we would say in te reo Māori, one that celebrated the finest of New Zealand, and also represented our core values. Lastly, and most importantly, we had a strong emotive connection. We were wanting to stay more connected as bros who grew up in a small town. We sort of drifted away after school, and we found ourselves only catching up fleetingly, usually only once or twice a year. So we wanted to change that. So it's vital to have a goal that's bigger than yourself, because we're social beings and we're hardwired to connect through shared experiences. And when your goals are aligned or your purpose impacts the lives of others, then that makes everything you do more meaningful, more rewarding, and ultimately more fulfilling. It provides you with that added fuel or the willpower that you need to navigate the dark times or the challenges. Okay, the fact is, starting a business at the best of times is super difficult. Over 50% fail within the first 2 years and 90% by the end of year 5. It's long hours for little return, and if you can't maintain that momentum or that energy, you will fail. And the same can be said for wanting a promotion, completing studies, or wanting to lead a healthier, fitter life. If you don't have enough reasons to pull you through, or the cause isn't strong enough, or the purpose isn't there, then chances are you will fall short. I've got to point that way. Yeah. Ko te mea tuarua, build a great team. Okay, you don't have all the answers and you can't do everything on your own. You need to surround yourself with people who uplift and inspire you and challenge you to grow and to be better. Forget the naysayers or those who say it's too hard or it can't be done. You need to find people who are smarter than you in the areas where you need help. You need to ask questions, you need to listen, you need to learn, and most importantly, you need to apply. Quite often this means you'd have to park the ego so you can take on board what someone is trying to share with you. This isn't always easy, but you will be grateful for it later. Building a great team starts with having the courage to put yourself out there, share your vision, and to see what comes back. If nothing comes back, keep going, because the right people are out there and you will find them, or they could find you, which is what's happened with us on occasion. When you believe in something so much and you're willing to put everything into it, it tends to create its own energy that draws people to you. So for us, early on the journey, we knew we didn't have any experience in making beverages, so the priority was to connect with the industry, understand the market, and find someone who could help bring our dream into a reality. We went from Wai Mānuka being this New Year's Eve idea to finding our beverage consultant within the first few weeks of the new year. And it was really uncanny because she had just returned from the UK with her family after working up there for several years, and she's been the first and the only beverage consultant that we've met, and we've never looked back. What made this such a great connection, though, was she not only had the hard skills and the technical skills to make the best non-alcoholic drink in the world, but she believed in us and she believed in our vision. Even going back to the first time we met, she lives in Remuera, Auckland, and for those of you who are not familiar with that place, it's big houses and tennis courts, and these three sort of big Maori fellas rocking into this house in the middle of Remuera, and yet she was so warm and welcoming when we went into the house. It was more like long lost friends catching up rather than a consultant and client. The other example is one of the best decisions we've made was to establish an advisory board. So a diverse group of experts we meet with once a month who help with the bigger picture kind of visionary type stuff, because as an entrepreneur you're just stuck in this storm, this daily storm of just doing stuff, and it's easy for the ship to sort of veer off course. So having this group that you can check in with regularly allows you to check the compass to make sure that the bearing's still pointing towards the vision. But what amazes us most about this group, though, is they don't do this because they have to. They do it because they want to. Okay, we don't pay them anything. There's no formal agreement. They do it because they believe in us and they believe in our vision. And that's really the ultimate goal of building a great team, because for as much as it's about you finding the right people to help you on your own journey, it's also about developing the skills, the knowledge, and the wisdom to pay it forward onto the next person. And that's probably the greatest lesson that they've taught us so far. Ko te mea tuatoru. Everything is a matter of perspective. Success is not linear. There's going to be times when it feels like nothing is going right, and the harder you try, the worse it seems to get. But it all depends on how you look at things. And the key is here you need to focus on the things that you can control, because there's so many things that happen outside of your control. You need to keep bringing that back to what's really important. And a good case in point is, I guess, COVID. Now, if we look at the damage and the impact that COVID continues to cause around the world, it's provided us with some invaluable lessons. Okay, just like how vulnerable the human condition is, which has elevated the importance of health and wellness. It's fast-tracked industries to innovate quicker, and it's demonstrated the flow-on benefits of things like working from home in terms of increasing productivity and reducing our carbon footprint. So it depends on how we interpret and respond to a given situation. So stimulus, interpretation, your response. So early in the process, you need to set in your mind that this is the long game, and it's about achieving sustained success over the long term. Bringing it back to Wai Mānuka, not long after we launched, we heard an incident where bottles started exploding on the production line, and it pretty much wiped out an entire run. It left us with $32 in our business account and over $20,000 worth of overdue invoices. And that might not seem like a lot, but for a startup that's bootstrapped and not profitable and just inhaled all of your life savings, it could easily have crippled the business and fractured friendships. That experience, kind of two things stand out from that experience. The first is, despite how dire the situation might have seemed from this is the end of the business type level, we never once felt overwhelmed or that we weren't capable of handling it. We knew that we had this great product with beautiful branding and an amazing story, and in time this would be but a mere speed bump on the roadway to global domination. But on the other hand, we recognize that in the grand scheme of things, so life as we know it, this is not the worst thing to happen. In fact, our initial response was we just laughed at the situation, the absurdity of the situation, before we switched into kind of solution mode. Okay, we even took a screenshot of our bank account at the time, and we set a goal where we're going to blow it up and get it framed, and when we're a global company, it will be a reminder of where we've come from and what we've been through. So for us, being able to balance that problem out with perspective and humour enabled us to find a way through and to keep striving towards building this global brand. Even if it meant calling on the bank of mum and dad and friends and family and even neighbours, and basically anyone else who was willing to listen to our cause. We had the most sort of surreal launch through America's Cup. We had TV exposure, lots of national interest, and we felt that at the time people just wanted to be around a good news story because of what we were dealing with COVID. So that problem, I guess, was a real sharp learning curve and a reminder that everything is about sort of the peaks and troughs. And whilst it's great to be riding a wave of excitement and success, you learn way more about yourself and each other when you navigate sort of the dark times and the challenges, because this is the domain for growth. This is where those wonderful attributes like grit, perseverance, and resilience are made and strengthened. I'd like to leave you with this growth opportunity. If you're sitting with a struggle or a problem that feels insurmountable to you right now because you're focusing on what could go wrong, what if everything went right? How would that change what you do next? What would you do differently when you left the theatre today? In summary, it's difficult to connect the dots looking forward, but looking back, we can certainly see how we've been able to execute and gain traction rapidly as a startup. We had a goal that's bigger than ourselves. So it wasn't just about creating a beverage, it was about staying connected as bros and doing something that represents New Zealand on the world stage. We built a great team who not only believe in the vision, but they're willing to challenge us to grow and to be better. And thirdly, we try to balance everything with perspective because even in our darkest hour, there is light. In the end, if 3 Maori boys from a small town can create Wai Mānuka, secure the deal with America's Cup and be exporting within 18 months to Asia, then that should be the green light to everyone sitting on an idea waiting to bring it into the light of day. The doorway for innovation is open, and it's up to you as to whether or not you want to walk through it. So what will you do? Whaia te kahirangi ki te tuahu koe me he maunga teite. Seek the treasure that you value most dearly. If you bow your head, let it be to a lofty mountain. Kia ora koutou.